Hey everybody, it's Chance. Today I want to show you a little bit of how I took this jam and turned it into a finished song. So let's get into it. The first thing I did is record each of the individual stems from the jam into their own track. Then I took the vocal stem and I exported one version that was processed and one version that was unprocessed. That way I had a little bit more control over it in the final song, but also still had access to that processed version to get a little bit of the live feel from the jam. Once I had it in here, I started taking little bits and pieces of the vocal, because the vocal from the jam was just me improvising vocal melodies as I went along, just experimenting. So for the final song, I really wanted to have a motif that fit. So I just searched through the jam, just tried to find something that worked, and I ended up sticking with this as the main vocal part of the song. This came from the unprocessed version, so in here, this just has some Arvox on it to tighten it up, some drive, some Juno chorus, delay, which this is doing a lot of the crazy stuff to it, and then I have mainly dry, just a slight bit of wet, and then it goes into a reverb and is cutting off a lot of the lows. The next thing I did was I wanted to find a part of the vocal that went with this so I could layer them on top of each other, and I landed on this bit and I reversed it. So let me see, I'll unreverse it real quick. So this is what it sounded like originally in the jam. And now reversed with the original, you get this effect. And I thought that added a really cool texture to the vocal. And this has auto-tune on it, Arvox again, RC20 for some cassette, delay again, which this is a reverse chaos, which gives it a lot of that really weird quality that it has, and some reverb cutting out the lows again. The last bit of the vocal I had is I knew I wanted something to add a little bit more variety in certain parts of the song, so I went searching and found these little areas that I layered together. One of them is pitched up and the other one is normal, so this one's pitched up. Pitching up the processed vocal with this unpitched version really gave it this weird ghostly kind of quality, and I really liked how that sounded, so here's what it sounds like. And for these, I don't think I did anything. Yeah, that's just the processed vocal from the original jam pitched around. All of the vocal parts together sound like this. Which just adds a really cool layer to the whole vocal aspect of the song, and I don't know, it kind of like gives it a little more movement, transforms throughout the song. I really like how all that came together. The drums, I really didn't do much to, other than I did mess with a filter on the percussion loop. But other than that, these are the drums straight from the jam. Nothing is on, other than I do have hysteresis on here just to add a little bit of texture and a little bit of variety to this percussion. The hats also have hysteresis on them doing the same thing. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, by the way, I'm sorry. The hats sound like this. I'll turn that off because this is a better place to hear it than the percussion. See, they're just very flat and static. But then I turn hysteresis back on. There's just so much more variety and texture to them. The next thing I added was something I add a lot of my stuff, and it's kind of just what I like to do, is I added a break. I took the drums and added a break to it. So you get something like this. And I like to do this just to add energy, and I just like working with breaks. This song I kind of set up to build up to this climactic section, so that really helped push it forward. The main bass is the bass from the jam. I don't think I've done anything to it at all. No, this is just straight up how it was in the jam. And in this section, the vocals pop out, and it's just this. Let's check what else. The synth keys, I haven't done anything to these. The only thing I did was the Volca FM. I added some chorus to just to thicken it up, make it sound a little more beefy. A little more stereo. But all of these other sections are just straight from the jam. And when I recorded the stems in, I'm just messing with different parameters and stuff like that. And then chopping up bits I like from the jam. So those are the pieces from the original jam. Now what I added afterwards was I started with this cello. For the cello, I'm using just a preset in Flex. Then I layered this with another Flex layer, which I think actually didn't stay Flex. I think this turned into Sakura. Yes. And this is just the campfire guitar preset, which I messed with a little bit of parameters, but I use that as a starting place. And then I decided to record an acoustic guitar to go with that. But after that, I added another Sakura that just complements that. Then layered that with another Sakura. Which is just a pluck sound, which I mess with a bunch of stuff from a preset. With Sakura, I tend to work from a preset first. Just because the UI is a little confusing at times starting from scratch, for me personally. Then I added another layer here, which I really like how this one turned out. It's just a Europa preset, which I tweaked, adding an LFO to the shape. I really like doing that in Europa. I really just like how that sounds, tweaking that slightly. I decided in the second part to do a breakdown or a little bit of a bridge in the song to change the bass. So here is the new bass. Which is another Europa. Oops. So with this bass, with the drums, sounds like this. And for this section, I wanted to, there's no breaks or anything in here. It's the original drums from the jam. And then the last thing I added was effects. And the main effect I added was a reverse here, which has a ton of delay on it, some distortion, and mainly wet, not much dry. And that kind of gives it this washed out sound as it reverses up into it. So it sounds like a swell or something. And then for this was just a drum break that I did a lot of pitching and mangling to. So that is stretched to be like half speed. And then I have added delay again with just a reverse that gives it like, again, those kind of swell sounds. This is like half wet, half dry, a little more dry. And then hysteresis on this, which I'll turn both of these off real quick. Like, it sounds cool, but it doesn't have much variety. It doesn't have much character. But then you add these, and again, just kind of adds to the ghostly feel of the song. So with everything now, So from here, I bounced all the stems and brought them into a mixing session. And after that, I bounced it and mastered it. And now the song is available on my Bandcamp, which you can check out right now. I'll put a link in the bio. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love doing these type of breakdowns. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave it a like. I'll see you again very soon, but until then, be good to each other, okay? Bye.